Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Christy Lyn and today is going to be another laundry chat. So I asked y'all over on Instagram as well as here on YouTube if you had any questions for me for my next laundry chat, and I did get several questions, so I will be answering all of your questions in this video. I hope I got them all. If I missed anyone, let me know in the comments and I'll get you on the next laundry chat video. If you like these kind of videos, before we jump into it, let me know by giving it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more laundry chat videos like more often, because right now I'm trying to do them once per month, but if you want to see them more often than that, tell me in the comments below if you want to see it more often than just once per month. So the very first question is, what is your and your husband's jobs, and how do you personally fold t-shirts or fold your shirts? Let's just start with that first. I will show you how I fold t-shirts because I actually do have a method that I really like, and I've never seen anyone use this method before. I'm sure there must be someone out there that uses it, but I've never seen it before on YouTube. So I'm going to show you how I fold t-shirts, and I personally love it and use it every time. So here we go. So I take the front of the t-shirt and I face it downward. Oh, and I can already see there's dog hair on it because we have a husky and he sheds all over everything. I hate that, but whatever. Can't do anything about it. So, okay, so here's the t-shirt laying just flat down. The neckline is facing closest to me and the front of the t-shirt is touching the bed. Okay, so I'm going to take the shoulders and I'm going to fold the shirt in half back. And I've just taken the shoulder and folded it all the way back to the bottom of the shirt. So now you just imagine a line from the neckline down in a straight line down to here, and all you do is you put your fingers at both points, and so there's your line, and you just grab it and you lift it up and let the sleeve fold itself inward, and then all you do is you face the front down again, so picture down, and there you have the sleeve folded across the back. Now all you do is take each corner of what you just folded and you're going to fold it across to the other shoulder and the other back of the shirt. So you're just going to fold this across to meet that corner. So across like this. You still have the sleeve out, so all you're going to do is kind of the repeat of what I did a minute ago. You grab both corners and you just lift it up, and you can see the sleeve folds itself behind itself right there. And then again, you face the front down, so picture down on the bed again. And then all you do from here is you just take your hand and basically cut the shirt in half and fold the bottom up to the neckline. And there you have a perfectly folded t-shirt. As you can see, it's like the perfect size. I mean, every single one turns out the exact same size, and it works perfect for like fitting into drawers in that sort of like file storage type way. So I love it, and I use this every single time I fold t-shirts. So hopefully that was helpful and you could see how I fold my t-shirts, because like I said, I love it and I do it every time, and I just like how it makes every single t-shirt the exact same size as each other. So the next portion of that question was, what is my job and what is my husband's job? I'm actually choosing not to disclose what my husband does for work right now. I'm not going to disclose that publicly at this time, but I can share about my job. I work for a bank. I work in the loan department, and I work on commercial loans. So like if you were a business that needed to have a loan taken out for something for your business, then I would handle that. It's kind of a behind the scenes job. I'm not working directly with customers, but it's more like back end stuff. So that's what I do for work. I work full time, 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday at the bank. And then of course I also work for myself. So I have my YouTube channel, but that's not like a career or anything at this point. I'm really small. And then I also have my own business that I do run on Amazon. I sell natural skincare that I work with a manufacturer here in the US. I just tell them what products I want them to make, and then they send them to my house and I get them bottled up, and then I ship all of that to Amazon. It is pretty small still, but it is a nice little extra income that comes in on the side, and I am working to try to grow that as much as I can. And I'm actually in the process of rebranding it. I'm changing the name. Right now the name of it is 620 Collections, and I'm changing the name to be Simple Lifing Skincare. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that's my Instagram name, and that's going to be my blog / website and storefront name, because I want to inspire those of y'all who are like me and Doug and trying to simplify our lives, where you spend more time doing what's most meaningful to you and less doing what's not. My next question is, what do you do on a date night and how often do you have one? On a typical date night, me and Doug will usually just like go out to dinner. We usually do commute a little bit out of where we live because we live in a really small town that doesn't have really any good restaurants around. Sometimes we'll watch a movie, but usually we just go to dinner. It's usually just pretty simple. We're pretty simple people and we just like something a little different, and going to dinner kind of does that for us. A lot of times we'll even do like at-home date nights, but we don't really call them like dates. We're not like, oh, this is a date, but honestly we try to spend like most evenings together. But what we've talked about is that we want to do maybe like a date night once a month, or just like a date once a month, and maybe even make a day of it. So we were thinking that like one month I will choose what we're doing and then another month he'll choose, so it'll be kind of like a surprise for each other. I think that would be a lot of fun to do that. But right now, honestly, we don't have like a schedule or a set amount of times we go on a date per month, but I think we usually end up going out to dinner like once a month, maybe even more than that sometimes. But then, like I said, we do a lot at home, so we spend our evenings together as much as we can, and we do a lot of gaming together. So he's really into PC gaming right now, so we do that. And then other times we'll just watch a movie or watch a show. So if you count those as date nights, like at home date nights, then we do those all the time, like every week. So let me know what you all do if you're married or you're dating, what you do for date nights, how often you do them, and I'd love to hear your ideas. Okay, so the next question is, do you make time for mindless activities in order to relax or unwind? When pursuing all the goals you have in mind, how do you balance time for work outside your full-time job, time for you to relax, and quality time with your husband, friends, and family? So I'll answer the first part of that question first. I think you have to have time to just like completely chill and not be constantly going, because I know it sounds like I might be going all the time, but I don't actually necessarily feel like I am. I don't feel like I'm ultra busy. Even though I am, I'm not like running myself ragged, if that makes sense. The reason is because I'm not really doing a ton of social stuff like outside the home. I feel like there's a time for everything, and I just don't feel that the time for that is right now. But that being said, I still do take time for mindless stuff, because for instance, my husband and I almost always watch a show with dinner because we're so tired when we get home from work. It's really nice to not have to think for like an hour. So we will turn on a show or two with dinner, and I feel like that's kind of a mindless activity. And I realize we could probably be more productive if we didn't do those things, but I don't know. I think I would just be completely burnt out if I didn't. Another way that I do definitely make time for mindless stuff is not always when I plan. Like for instance, maybe that time of the month you're just not feeling it and you just can't push yourself to do as much as you normally would. I think it's totally fine. Or maybe you're feeling sick or under the weather. I think it's totally fine to give yourself a break and just unwind. Last week I was just exhausted and not feeling my best because I was a little under the weather. So I just gave myself a break, and I got one video out on Monday, and then I got another video out this morning, which is Sunday when I'm recording this. But I'm the kind of person who I don't like to put myself in a box and say I have to get this many videos out this often or this many videos per week. But I do just work hard to get as many out as I can. And I find that I'm still able to be consistent doing it that way, but not boxing myself in so that I always feel like I'm failing. I was okay with giving myself that time, and I think you have to be. And I think you will know if you are procrastinating or if you really need the time. So don't be afraid to give yourself that break and to do those mindless things. So the second part of that question was, when pursuing all the goals you have in mind, how do you balance time for work outside your full-time job? I do have some goals that I'm working towards, which I kind of talked about at the beginning. Like, I'm working on my skincare business, I'm working on YouTube, and then becoming financially independent all plays into that. That's a huge goal of my husband and I. Yeah, so we definitely have some goals that we're working towards that take a lot of time. YouTube is more than a part-time job as far as time goes. Like, I'm definitely not gonna lie, it's a big challenge. I'm not always perfect at it, but I do feel that for the most part I have a good balance, and I think it works pretty good for both Doug and I. So I think you just have to look at what is important in your life and cut the things out that are not important, and then keep all the things that are important. Like I said before, I think there's a time and a place for everything. And so right now in my life, I feel that I need to work extra hard. It doesn't mean exhaustive, but I just feel I need to work extra hard. I need to spend more time building up these things to get us where we're trying to go. And then once the businesses are more self-sustained, we'll have more time. But all that to say, like, I would not want to neglect my family relationship. Like with Doug, I definitely do not want to neglect my relationship with him in any way or form. I think that is my top priority over everything else that I'm doing, and make sure we are spending time together. I think my priority right now is my husband, Doug, and my business is right now. That's right now. I think priorities change, and for right now, those are my priorities, and then I'm finding a way to fit all of my priorities in. I have had to give up some things though in order to do that, because I actually had another business that I was doing. I was an ESL coach since about 2012, and I did that for years. But in recent time, I realized something had to give, and that was not something that was necessarily helping me get to where I wanted to get with my family and everything and our goals. And so I realized that was the thing that I was going to need to cut out, so I would have enough time to do all the things that were top priority in our life. So I did have to cut that out in recent times, and it has really helped out. It's opened things up and given me the freedom that I needed to be able to really work on all of the other stuff. The other stuff that is going to be there long term and going to help us reach our goals. So yeah, sometimes, like I said, you got to figure out what is important to you and what's important to your family, and then cut things out or prioritize things based on that. The next question is, how are your freezer meals working out for you? Did you like them? Which one was the family favorite so far? They worked out really great. The ones that I think were our favorite was probably the chicken chili was probably our favorite. I'm the kind of person who tends to get tired of food really easily, and I have to switch it up all the time or else I'm like sick of the food. So I can't have the same thing too much or I get really tired of it. So right now I've been playing around with different meat marinades. So I'll take like chicken breast and make like 4 different marinades, and then divide up the chicken breast into like 4 different freezer bags, add the marinade to it, freeze that, and then while it's defrosting or thawing or whatever, then it sits in the marinade and it gets really nice and tender, and then I cook that up. So it's still meal prepping, it's just not with the crock pot. I still plan to use the crock pot for sure, but we feel that soups are probably our favorite thing in the crock pot, and then other meals we prefer not in the crock pot. And that's mainly just like a texture thing, because if you eat only crock pot meals, at least in my experience, sometimes they all kind of have the same overall texture and even sometimes the same kind of flavor. But I'm still going to definitely use the crock pot. I'm probably going to mainly use it for like soups though. Alright, and this next question I know I promised I was going to address before, and it's been way too long, so I'm glad that I can answer this now. But the question is, how are things going regarding the health issues you shared in previous videos? Has what the naturopath suggested helped? Yes, so if you're new to my channel, you may have no idea, but a while back probably around like August time was a pretty rough time for me, and I was going to the doctor and trying to figure out what was going on. But basically, in a nutshell, when I was about 17, I got really sick and the doctors couldn't really figure out what it was. They thought so many things. They thought it might be Lyme disease and like all these different things. And I had all these different tests and I had false positives and just various things. And eventually I kind of got better, but they never really had like a for sure answer for what was going on. But ever since that time, I just never really felt fully back to health. And what I mean by that is I had chronic fatigue syndrome. And I do believe that chronic fatigue syndrome is kind of what doctors say to describe something they don't know what it is. But I think it's actually chronic fatigue syndrome is actually a symptom of something that's really going on that they just don't know what it is going on. But chronic fatigue can happen for so many reasons where if you're not familiar with it, you're completely exhausted all the time. No matter how much sleep you get, you never feel refreshed. And it's just a really miserable way to live. Like you don't really even feel alive. You just feel like you're existing and just kind of floating through life. And it's very, very difficult to go to work for one, and I was working full-time through most of it, but it was very difficult. I always felt like I was having to put on this strong like front that everything was okay when I was feeling like a dead person on the inside. Like I just was feeling I could hardly stay awake, and that's just really embarrassing and really difficult to deal with when you're faced with people every single day. So having to go to work and just pull it together long enough to get through work and then to be able to focus on your work and not make mistakes is really, 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 really hard. And my heart truly goes out to anybody that's ever experienced that or is in that right now, because it's just a very frustrating thing to have, especially when your tests are coming back normal and the doctors can't explain what's going on. So, like I said, that lasted about 10 years for me, over 10 years. I just realized I finished folding the laundry, so I guess we'll just chat and you can just keep folding if you've got laundry. But okay, so I had been to doctors, they couldn't find anything, and then later in life when I was already married now, last year I just kind of hit rock bottom. I felt like my body was giving up on me. I don't know how else to put it, but I felt like my body was just done. And I was really, really, really afraid. I honestly believed that I might be dying. And I know that probably, I don't even have to justify it because you know how you feel. So that's how I felt. And I hadn't felt that way for a long time, like since I first got sick. But now, like 10 plus years later, I was feeling it horrible, just rock bottom. And about ready I didn't know what to do. Like I just wanted to just give up. I was feeling really depressed because I had all of these dreams and things that I wanted to pursue in my life, and I was desperate to pursue them, but I would come home from work and I could hardly cook dinner or do any of the normal things. It's hard to even get ready for bed. That's how tired I was. And it was hard to do anything but just lay down. And so I had these dreams in my mind and heart that I wanted to pursue. So that's why it was just very sad and depressing, because I just didn't have the energy to do it. So I knew this is no way to live. I can't continue like this. Like if something doesn't change, something just has to change, period. And that's how I felt. So I began to look for a different direction, and I looked up some naturopath doctors instead of just the regular doctors. And I happened to find one that was a couple hours away from where we live, and he had amazing reviews. And I thought, okay, this looks promising. So I reached out to him, and long story short, he tested me and they found out a few things that was going on that was probably causing my symptoms. And I remember on the first appointment, he actually looked at my blood work that I had done previously, where the doctors had said I was like normal before, and the only thing they said was I was deficient in vitamin D. But he said that, like, looking at just the results from those doctors, he was like, you are basically like a car that's been in a wreck. Like, you are just, it's impossible for you to expect yourself to be able to function normally with even the results that I can already see. And then he went in and did an even more in-depth blood test to find out even more things and dig a bit deeper. To answer specifically kind of what was going on with me, first of all, I definitely guessed it, and so did he, but my adrenals were shot. So for your adrenals, your body's supposed to be able to produce cortisol to handle stress. And I'm not a doctor, so I'm probably not going to explain this the best way, but like your levels of cortisol is supposed to go up and down to these certain levels throughout the day where you can handle stress the best way. And I believe in the morning it's supposed to be the highest so that you can deal with all the stresses of the day. And by the end of the day, it's supposed to be the lowest, I believe. So if you're in a prolonged state of stress for too long, then your body constantly is producing cortisol until it kind of gets burnt out and is not producing it anymore, or at least very little. And that's when you begin to get adrenal fatigue or adrenal shutdown, and there's like various stages of it. And then whenever that happens, when your body can't deal with stress, the smallest stresses, things that wouldn't normally be stressful, are really stressful to you. So that makes you completely exhausted. So that was one area that was affecting my energy. Another area he found was that I was borderline hypothyroid. So he started me on a natural thyroid medication, or like supplement I should say, because I was just borderline. I was in the normal ranges for most doctors, but he said it was low enough that it could be causing some symptoms. And then I was so deficient in vitamin D, so I was taking a bunch of vitamin D. And then the other thing was my vitamin B levels. B12 was borderline getting low, but still in the normal range for most doctors. But the interesting thing that was something I never knew before I went to him was he discovered that I had a type of gene variation, 2 copies, or one from each parent. I got a copy of this gene variation. This one's actually fairly common. Around 60% of the population have it, but don't know about it. It's called the MTHFR gene variation. So the type that I have, it makes it so that my body can hardly process folic acid at all. And if I'm sure all of you women out there know what folic acid is and know that you need it to have like a healthy pregnancy and all of that stuff. Like as women, we just know we're supposed to like take folic acid. But what you might not know is folic acid is actually synthetic. It's actually the synthetic form of what you really need, which is folate. So folate, or the full name is methylfolate. So methylfolate is what you actually need. So most people can take the folic acid. It has to go through like 12 different stages until it's converted into what you need, which is folate. Because I had this type of gene variation, my body is hardly able to process folic acid at all. So I never end up getting that folate, which I need, and that affects like all of your B levels. So my B12 and everything was suffering. A lot of different things were suffering. It actually increases chances for heart problems. It increases your levels of homocysteine in your body, which is not good, and you're at risk for cardiovascular issues. And so that was really scary to me, because at the same time that all of this stuff was kind of hitting rock bottom, I seemingly out of the blue got this terrible circulation issue in my legs. It was very painful and it was really scary. So I found this out and I thought, oh, okay, so maybe this has something to do with it. I don't know. And there were a few other things that were kind of off, like my CoQ10 levels weren't good, my omegas weren't good. There was just a lot going on. So anyways, to sum all of it up, what I did was I started taking a B vitamin, all the B vitamins I should say, that were the active forms. So you can just bypass all of your body's having to convert like folic acid into things, and the same with any B vitamin. A lot of times they're not the active forms, and if you want to take the active form, you have to look for it to say methyl at the beginning, so like methylfolate, for example. So I take the methyl versions of all the B vitamins, and that just bypasses all of the conversions that would normally have to happen before my body can accept and use what I'm taking. So I just bypass that and I take the active forms, and then it's as if I don't even have that problem, that gene variation. So I started doing that, and I knew it was probably going to be a long process before I started feeling better. I wasn't really sure if that was really, the cause of a lot of my symptoms. So I was taking all of this and a whole bunch of other supplements, and I started taking, doing smoothies in the morning. And he had a recipe that he would tell me to do for these power smoothies every morning, and just putting, all the good stuff in there. But what made the biggest difference for me was when I started taking the thyroid supplement, which is funny because I was really nervous about taking it, so I put it off forever. But when I finally took it, it was pretty much day one, I had energy. My energy was back. And I thought, oh, I hope this is just not my imagination. But that night I could not sleep. The next night I could not sleep. I had way too much energy, so I cut the dose down a little bit. And sure enough, it never wore off. Never. It never wore off. I'm still taking it months later, and I still have my energy back. And I'm just so beyond grateful. I don't even know how to describe what it feels like to have that back. It's amazing. I can't say that I'm perfect 100% because there's still things that I'm trying to work on as far as health goes, but just to have the majority of my energy back is amazing. And the only time that I'm ever really feeling awful or tired is if I miss my sleep, which, like my husband says, that just makes me normal. So if I miss my sleep now, it's no longer because I have chronic fatigue. But just if I miss my sleep, or maybe that time of the month, that week before is just not good as far as energy goes. But besides that, I feel really, really good. And I'm just so grateful, so very grateful that I did take that step and go to a different doctor when everyone else was saying, you're fine. And I got some answers. There are still some things that I'm not doing the best in, which is my circulation issue has not gotten better. It has made some slight improvements, and I've been taking something called pycnogenol for it. It's supposed to help your blood vessels constrict and everything. I think it is helping, but I don't know that it's actually reversing it or anything. It's just helping. So I may end up, if it gets worse, one day I will probably have to have surgery for it. They told me it's probably just the start of venous insufficiency, which you can look that up if you don't know what it is, but it's maybe just the very start, because it's not very bad, they said right now. It's not bad enough they could do the procedure to fix it. So if it gets bad enough, then I can just do a procedure, everything will be fine. So right now I gotta live with it, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah, it is what it is right now. I will probably get a second opinion on it. And then the second thing that I'm still really trying to work on is, so when I was feeling pretty bad, I started losing weight, and without meaning to. I'm already thin. I wasn't trying to lose any weight. And yeah, I lost weight. I think it was really even before I got married, I lost some weight that I wasn't able to get back. And I had a lot of stress going on in my life before I met my husband, actually. And I thought it was due to that, just not eating enough and just being so stressed out, because I'm the kind of person who, when I'm stressed, I don't eat. I can't eat because I get nauseous or whatever. So I figured I lost weight because of that. But then after I got married and, everything settled down and things were going well, I still didn't gain back the weight, and in fact I was losing more weight, and so that started to really scare me. So to this point I still haven't gained my weight back. I'm lower than I definitely want to be by probably 10 pounds, and I just haven't been able to get it back. So that's the next thing I'm going to talk to my naturopath about. Yeah, they also found that I had low platelets on my last test, which I know that can be scary sounding, but it also can mean you just have low iron, which I tend to have, although mine wasn't that bad when we tested it. And then the B vitamins can contribute to that too, and there's a lot of other things that can contribute to it. But yeah, I have all the symptoms that come with that, easily bruising and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, on the one hand, I'm a little nervous about it because I do have weight loss, the unintentional weight loss. I have a hard time with my appetite because I don't know why, food just doesn't taste as good as it used to me, so that's why I have to change it up all the time to keep myself interested. But yeah, so my main concerns right now are honestly with my appetite and my weight, and just really wanting to gain that back. And I want to try to see if I can work out, and maybe I just lost a lot of muscle during that time. And I know muscle weighs more than whatever, fat or whatever. So maybe I just lost muscle, and so if I exercise, maybe I can gain some of that back that I'm not seeming to gain back by just trying to eat more. Oh, and the other thing that he was trying to help me with was my anxiety, because I had a lot of anxiety, like really bad anxiety. I don't really have panic attacks, but I will just be in a constant state of anxiety sometimes, and that's just because of a lot of stress that I had in my life that just kind of I've carried with me for a long time. So I tend to be a pretty anxious person, and that doesn't always come off as super nervous, you know, it's just the anxiety, the over worrying and stuff like that. I've gotten better, a lot better, not where I want to be yet, but I've gotten a lot better. And I mentioned before that I was taking CBD oil, and that helped tremendously. Like, I can't even tell you, I used to get so much anxiety when I went to the grocery store to shop, because just like everything going on around me and trying to focus, and I don't know why, but that just really caused a lot of anxiety for me. But yeah, the CBD oil really helped with that. It took that away pretty much completely. I could go to the store without feeling overwhelmed and anxious, and honestly I haven't been good about it. It is pretty expensive, and I stopped taking it probably a month or so ago. So I've been off of it like a month or two, and I do notice that anxiety does kind of creep back in sometimes at going to the store. But yeah, I know that helps, and I do want to get back on it. So just throwing that out there in case there's anyone out there that's wanted to try it or would like more information on it. I can definitely do a video on that. I can do tons of videos on my health journey because it's been a struggle. So if any of these topics were of interest to you, you want to learn more about it, or you want to hear my experience, just please tell me in the comments. I have no way of knowing unless you do, and I don't want to bore you all with all of this. So let me know in the comments, and I could do separate health videos for you, because your health is so important. If you are not feeling 100%, there is a reason for it, and it's not fair. You shouldn't be living your life feeling just not 100%. And so I am someone who strongly believes that you should never give up, and you just gotta find a doctor that can help you. I would highly recommend seeing a naturopath if you've tried other things and haven't gotten answers, because you deserve answers. You deserve to be feeling your best. And if you're not, there's always a reason behind it. And I hate to hear of anybody who's suffering health-wise, and especially when they don't have answers, they don't have a direction to go in. So my heart truly goes out to you, and let me know how you're doing. If that's you, I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to encourage you, and hopefully encourage you with my experience and my story a little bit. But yeah, number one thing you need to do is find a doctor that's going to listen to you and actually dig as deep as they need to go to find you answers. Alright, well, I went on long enough about the health stuff. Man, maybe I should split this video into two because it's going to be so long. But let me go ahead into... Okay, so my last question is, what is your most productive time of day, morning or evening? I know you say you work full-time, leaving only the evenings to do all your other work, whether it be housework or entrepreneurial work. Do you feel you've adapted to needing to work more in the evenings? And how do you not give in to being tired and just needing to do something mindless after a full day of work already put in? Yeah, that's an amazing question. My most productive time is definitely 100% of the time in the morning. I'm a morning person, and I don't care how early I get up, I'm going to get better work done in the morning than I would do staying up late. That doesn't mean I don't stay up late, because I do sometimes doing the final touches to a video. If I don't have to be up early the next morning, I will stay up late doing it. But morning time is always my best, most productive time, and my favorite time. So do you feel you've adapted to needing to work more in the evenings? And how do you not give in to being tired and just doing mindless stuff after working the whole day? That was such a challenge for me, to be able to come home and work on my stuff. And I know I mentioned that's what I was going to be doing, that I was going to be doing that in the evenings. Like, probably back then I think I was trying to get it done before my husband got home from work. So like in the time that I came home and before he got home, I tried to get all my work done. Just like you said, it's so hard to not go and do that mindless stuff, to scroll through social media, because you're just so exhausted after working the entire day. Yeah, it's hard. So what I found was I was not very productive doing that. So I did need to switch some things around. And now I can say that I do have a schedule that works so well for me right now. and that's how I've been able to be consistent finally on YouTube. I mean, the main reason I wasn't consistent when I first started was for health reasons, but then it was just because I work full time. It's really hard to even get out one video a week, and now I've been trying to do 2 videos, and one week I even got 4 videos out. So yes, it definitely takes a huge balancing act. So I found evenings were not my most ideal time for being creative. Definitely not for filming, although I will do it on the rare occasion. So here is what I'm doing. I will get up every morning at 5 a.m. I have to leave for work at no later than 7:45. So I really have to be done with my work in the morning by about 7 to just kind of get ready and get going, eat breakfast, all of that. So if I get up at 5 a.m. in the morning, that allows me 2 hours to work on anything I need to work on, whether that's YouTube or my business. And my skincare business doesn't take a whole lot of work right now, so it's mainly YouTube. So what I'll do is I'll get up at 5, just get straight out of bed, I will do my makeup, and then I'll just go out to the couch in my pajamas usually, so I'm still comfy, and I'll just, pop open my laptop, and I'll get to work, and I'll just edit until it's time that I need to go get ready. So I'll edit, or I'll upload and schedule my next video, or I'll work on a thumbnail, or I'll research keywords for my video, or whatever I need to do. I just am working on, one specific video at a time and do whatever I need to do on the next step for that video, and then I go to work. And it's the hardest thing to have to leave the fun stuff, like working on YouTube. I absolutely love it. It's so hard to not see it through. I'm the kind of person that likes to see it through. So it is hard to have to stop and go to work, but that's just what I have to do right now. So I do stop wherever I am when it's about 7. Then I go to work, and I have 9 hours, including lunch, that I am working for my bank. And then when I come home, instead of trying to work, if there's a last minute touch to my video, I will probably do it. But what I have found is I do that in the morning, YouTube in the morning, business in the morning. I come home from work, and that time is for chores, because to me, I can do chores mindlessly. Like, I don't have to think to fold laundry. I don't have to think to put in a load of laundry. I don't have to think to tidy up the house, clean the kitchen. I don't have to think to put on dinner too much, unless I'm following a new recipe, but I try to keep it simple. So yeah, I just work on dinner, I work on chores, I work on laundry, whatever I need to do before my husband gets home, and I usually have like an hour-ish, unless he works late, because sometimes his hours are crazy. But I try to get it all done in about an hour, and then my husband comes home, and the evening is just ours together. We will watch a show, like I said. Sometimes, he'll want to play a game, so we'll get on and play games or whatever. Sometimes he will want to do some work on business as well. So on those days when he wants to do something else more productive in the evening, then I will go ahead and work on my work too. I'll work on my business or on YouTube, as long as he's working on something. But my priority is him in the evening. I want to have it open for him to spend the time together, and we really need that. Everyone needs that. And it just works out, because he's not really a morning person, so I don't feel like I'm having to ask him to sacrifice anything by me getting up in the morning. I might have to sacrifice a little sleep, but right now I'm able to do it. And I'm usually able to still get about 7 hours of sleep. And honestly, if I don't go to bed on time, then I wake up and I'm tired. I don't get to get up early. And that's, for me, because I love what I do on YouTube and I love what I do in business, it's not always fun, but it's rewarding, because I can just envision where life will be in a year and how I'm doing this for a purpose. So I just envision that purpose, and that's what gets me out of bed. That's what gives me the drive to get out of bed in the morning, even when I am a little tired. But at the same time, I don't push myself, because I don't want to end up where I was before with my adrenals shot and my health out the door. So I don't want to do that, and I'm not doing that. So all of that to say that I can do the mindless stuff in the evening as long as I get my stuff done in the morning. So I get my work done in the morning, so I don't have to feel bad about taking that time away from Doug and our time together. And then in the evening, I give myself the freedom that I can watch a YouTube video to just chill for a moment on the couch before I get to work on my chores or whatever. Or I get to turn on a video while I'm folding laundry, so I do allow myself to do those fun or mindless things in the evening at this point. So I'm finding this schedule works really well for me, and I'm still able to get out 1 to 2 videos every week doing it that way. So that's kind of what I'm sticking to. And then if I am caught up on what I need to do, I don't get up early that day. I get to sleep in a little bit. So yeah, it works. But anyways, this video is super long now. I hope you had a lot of laundry to fold, or I hope this was at least informative to you and inspiring and encouraging in some way. If it was, I would love it if you would go ahead and share this video with someone that you think might find it helpful or could benefit from any of the information in it. And yeah, I just really hope that this will help someone out there, and also hopefully it gave you some entertainment at the very least while you're folding your laundry, because I love turning on videos while I fold laundry. Let me know if I'm alone in that or if y'all like to do that too. So if you enjoyed this laundry chat, fold with me video, then definitely let me know by giving it a thumbs up, and always let me know in the comments because that helps so much too. And every time y'all give my videos a thumbs up and comment, and whenever you watch my videos straight through to the end, you have no idea how much that helps. That helps so much to grow my channel, and I just appreciate it so much. But I don't want this to be just one-sided, so I really would love to hear from you all in the comments. I so enjoy getting to know you down there and just chatting with you, and it just makes it feel like we're friends and I know who is watching my videos, and it just makes it so much fun to get to know you. So definitely drop me a comment. Let me know if anything resonated with you in this video, or if you want to answer any of these questions for yourself. That would be amazing. But anyways, I'm gonna let you go now, and I am gonna go ahead and get to work on my next video actually. So I hope you have a great day, whatever day it is that you're watching this, and I'll see you really soon in my next video. Bye!